Hello and welcome back to Culinary Haven. Today I would like to share with you my recipe for cream of corn soup, which I serve with cheese crostini. Corn is in season now, it's very sweet and tender, and the soup is delicious, nutritious and really easy to make. And so without further ado, let's begin. To make our cream of corn soup and cheese crostini, we'll need for the soup 1 large onion. If you don't have a large one, just in weight it will be about 200-250 grams. 1 very small clove of garlic. We don't want to overpower with garlic, but it enhances the flavor of the corn and of the cream. 40 grams of butter, 2 tablespoons. 4 corn on the cob, 1 tablespoon of flour, half a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of white pepper, 2 teaspoons of dry mustard powder, 1 vegetable stock cube or pod, I'm using pod today, 1 liter of boiling water and a tub of double cream, 300 ml. And for the crostini, we'll need a stale baguette, preferably stale. It's better to make crostini when the bread is stale, and it's just a good way to use it up. Some olive oil, some English mustard, and some grated mozzarella cheese and cheddar cheese. And we'll start with peeling and chopping the onion and the garlic. You can chop the onion roughly into chunky pieces or finely, it doesn't matter, because we'll saute it, and when the soup is ready we will blitz it in the blender, so it doesn't matter. Any way you like, chop it. And now we're going to take a heavy bottom saucepan and melt the butter. So the butter is melted now, and we're adding the onion and the garlic. Give it a stir. Different dishes, different cooking fats. When you cook corn, it's butter. And now we're going to turn it down, cover with the lid and let it saute whilst we're preparing the corn. We're cooking the onion and garlic on a very low heat because we want it to soften but not to get any color. And now we'll prepare the corn. Put it flat like this on a chopping board, and with a sharp knife just cut the kernels off the cob. Just like so. Very easy. And we'll soon add it to the saucepan. This is it, a whole bowl of fresh corn. Everyone in my family loves corn. In many ways I cook with it, except one person, but I think they're warming up to it. And now it's time to add the dry ingredients to our soup. Lovely. It's perfect. It's just very, very pale golden color, which is fine. Now we're going to add half a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of white pepper, 2 teaspoons of dried mustard powder. Stir it. And add 1 tablespoon of plain flour. And cook it for about a minute so that the flour is cooked and coated in butter, so it will not have this raw flavor. This is it, that's enough. And now we're going to add 1 liter of boiling water. And add the vegetable stock. Bring it to a boil. Now this stock is starting to boil now, and now we're adding the corn. Just all in. Turn it up so that it quickly comes to boil again. And once it does, turn it down, cover it with the lid like so, and cook it for 7 minutes. And how do I know it's 7 minutes? I just it takes about 2 to 3 minutes for it to come to a boil, but it's still cooking. So 7 minutes is enough. It will be perfectly cooked. The corn is very tender, and then we'll continue. I'm going to make the soup using this blender. You can also do it probably in a food processor or with a handheld stick blender. Just make sure you blend it thoroughly until it's all nice and smooth. The corn is ready, everything is ready, and now I'm just going to transfer it into this bowl and then process it in this blender in probably 3 batches because I want to make sure that it's perfectly blended. And once it's blended, we'll pour it back into the saucepan. That's enough. Nicely blended all together, just a nice smooth consistency. But of course, if you are going to make it using a handheld blender stick, you just do it in the saucepan. So just pour this and continue with the rest. And the last one. They are beautiful, lovely color and absolutely perfect creamy soup consistency. And now we're going to bring it back to, I don't want to boil, just to simmer before we add the cream. Starting to bubble, and we're adding the cream now. Just pour it in. Stir and just let it cook until it starts to simmer again, and then switch it off. It takes about a couple of minutes. The cream is cold, so it takes a little bit of time to bring it back to simmer, but once it does, it's ready. The soup is ready, sitting there, waiting. And now we'll make the crostini. Preheat the oven to 200 degrees Celsius, and let's slice the baguette. Slice them into 1 centimeter thick slices. And place them on a parchment-lined baking tray. If you wish, you can make them smaller, and then you just cut the baguette instead of on an angle, just across, and there will be smaller slices. That's them all sliced and placed, as many as I could manage. And now we're going to lightly drizzle it with olive oil, and then spread some mustard. There is a theme here. There was a dried mustard powder in the soup and mustard on the crostini, and it works really well. And then we're going to sprinkle with the 2 cheeses. Cheddar cheese for sharpness, and mozzarella cheese is for great melting and great color of the crostini. So just very lightly drizzle with olive oil, and now we'll thinly scrape, just a scrape of mustard on each slice. Cheese and mustard, of course, perfect marriage. And we're going to sprinkle the cheese. First, the cheddar. It gives a great flavor, but it doesn't look great when it's baked. So mozzarella does, so that goes on. And now mozzarella on top. Mozzarella melts really lovely, well, you know that. It goes on top of pizza and it just gives this beautiful golden brown color and a lovely, lovely finish. That's them all prepared, and now we're going to bake them in the preheated to 200 degrees Celsius oven for about 8 to 10 minutes. It depends on your oven. Just look for them being golden brown, deep golden brown. That's the crostini ready. Beautiful. Very hot though. Need to be careful. I'm going to transfer them onto a plate. I don't want them to continue getting the heat from the tray. They will get too hot. But now, just now, they're perfect. This is it. A plate with beautiful cream of corn soup. Garnish a little bit with some finely chopped parsley. And I'm going to serve it immediately before the crostini get cold. Thank you for watching this episode of Culinary Haven. But before we say our goodbyes, I have an announcement to make. Culinary Haven is moving, as in relocating. We're moving 500 miles down south, so it's a goodbye Scotland and hello England. We need to take some time off to get there and settle. But we will be back, and that's a promise. And so until next time, bye.